Welcome to the channel, after another race where it seems that everything has become clearer in the fight for the title. Before we go to Mercedes, we invite you to subscribe to the channel, leave a like and share it with Formula 1 fans, so that every day we can be more and much more. Thanks. In a rainy Grand Prix, Mercedes lost a good chance of a podium and suffers with strategy in the Sao Paulo GP. George Russell leads at the start, but the team faces a setback with a red flag and finishes in P4 and P10. Much more was expected from Mercedes in Brazil, especially from George Russell's side, as it had already been noticed that Lewis Hamilton was having immense difficulties in the car. The bad luck they had with the red flag was the same as McLaren, and they lost the chance of a podium, perhaps something more. In the end, George Russell finished 4th and Lewis Hamilton 10th in the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Russell led the field at the entrance to Turn 1. After a strong start from P2, he led the field until a period of VSC on lap 28. Taking advantage of the VSC period, which coincided with a heavy downpour, the team called George Russell to the pits to fit new intermediate tires, followed by Norris from P2. George returned to P4 and was passed by Norris for P5 before the red flag. After the red flag, George moved up to P4, but was unable to progress further. Hamilton started in P14 due to incidents with other cars in qualifying and drove a very close race to secure the final point. Fighting throughout the race for rear grip and confidence, he spent the final period stuck behind Lawson's slower car, unable to pass in the wet conditions. For Andrew Shovlin, director of engineering, Lewis struggled to gain confidence in the car and didn't get past Q1. George managed to gain more confidence at the rear in particular and achieved a strong P2 on the grid. So George rode right at the front of the pack until the VSC appeared at the same time as a heavy rain. We wanted to take this opportunity to change the worn intermediate tires and were followed to the pits by Norris, who started in second place, while Verstappen and the Alpine drivers stayed on the track and bet on a safety car or a red flag, which ended up happening. When the race resumed, with everyone on new tires, George managed to move Leclerc into P4, but then became stuck behind a slower car and was unable to overtake, with no DRS available. It was the same story for Lewis, a little further back, who moved up into the points but was unable to pass Lawson despite several attempts. P4 and P10 seem like a meager reward after leading the first part of the race, but there is a lot for us to learn from this weekend and the last 3 races.